Hey, so I've never done this before. Welcome to a little patch of nature close to my boyfriend's place. It's beautiful weather, sunshine, beautiful trees, so much growth, so much greenery, so many birds. Hope you'll be able to hear me. I want to talk a little bit about sigils, which may seem random on my channel because so far it's been so extremely tarot focused, which is my strong suit. It's my strong point. I feel I know what I'm talking about at this point, addressing the subject of tarot. But there's also magic involved, and I don't really follow a particular system regarding that. I just really do my own thing, and therefore it kind of seems a little bit silly maybe to talk about what I do, because I feel that it works differently for other people, and different things work for different people. I am a little bit, free about that. There aren't really rules. Actually, I've made quite a strong point to not have rules for myself. That's just about me breaking free from old patterns. But you see, I do think that however you wish to use tarot, it does involve magic. So it is linked and it's related, and you could even say that it's the same. And there's also, of course, in magical practice, tarot is used. So they're for sure related, I would say. And talking about sigils, now honestly, there are many ways to work with sigils or make your own. And honestly, so far what I've done is the most basic, easiest way of using that, of making it and drawing it and coming up with it, and why I would use sigils, and also how I use them and how to activate them. They found me. Gotta hide, gotta run. So first of all, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to bore you with how I make sigils, because so far, honestly, it's the easiest, most simple way of making it, which is simply writing down what you want to accomplish, what I want to accomplish in a sentence. And I do make sure to make it a sentence that is an affirmation, so that it will happen. It's no good in my book to start the sentence with "I want this to happen," or "I wish I was," or "I hope to be." Never say "I hope." Hope is a killer. We are saying "I am," or that's the way to start a sentence. Let me think. So that sentence then is, I write that down, I cross out the vowels, and then I cross out the letters that come up more than once. You're left with a few letters, right? And then those letters become the sigil. Now, I must say, my first few sigils, and actually it still happens, definitely still happening, that the sigil doesn't go further than, artistically or symbolically, doesn't go any further than it just really does. The end result does look like a couple of letters just smushed together. And it's not very pleasing to the eye, doesn't always feel important when it's when the end result is like that. I kind of feel like, if only I would have made a few extra steps to get it right. Like, for instance, my last sigil, I'm not going to tell you what it was for, but you might guess it was about a certain type of protection magic, and then the end result was, it honestly just looked like an egg, and then another tinier egg within there, and then it looked like little sprouts of grass, and in there was a crack, but not through the eggs, not through the eggshell, but within it, like a little indentation thingy. Honestly, I should have probably looked it up in my book, in my tarot book, how I came up with that shape. Because honestly, for the life of me, I cannot tell you how a few letters became an egg shape. But actually, at the same time, that's the whole point, isn't it? To like make the sigil and then forget about it. But yeah, it was about protection magic, and then it was pretty cool. I thought that's when I knew I got something there. That's when I knew I did something right, because it felt so complete and finished and right. And I felt the effects of it already, you know. It worked quite nicely, I must say. But it was pretty cool that the end result was symbolic in itself, in not only in making a sigil out of a couple of letters, but also in the shape. So it wasn't only the stamp, or I should say seal, that the sigil is, it was also the drawing itself. So it, you know, that's just the tarot reader coming through there. It's all about the symbolism and something that is not only personal but also universal, or the other way around, but still it counts. Yeah, I thought that was nice. Now, there's something funny that happened with that sigil, because let me go back a little bit. I make the sigil, then right in the middle, because I love symmetry, right in the middle above my tarot table, I have on my wall, I have a little blackboard. Is that what it's called? Where I write on or draw on with chalk. And that's usually where the sigil that I've just made, that I need to work with, where the sigil ends up. So there is that part of activating the sigil, which is done through either, well, I mean, lots of different ways, but usually it's done through burning it, or putting it under water, or burying it, or tearing it up, or throwing it away, or all of that's allowed. See, now, I don't always do that step. I do that step, for instance, burning. I do that step in another time of the intention, and I do it for different reasons, often. So I don't always feel the need to truly activate it in that sense, because the thing is that you draw it, it's something that, you know, gives that subconscious feeling of this is going to happen, and that intention setting, really, achieving your goals or whatever that is. And then you're supposed to, like, destroy it, get rid of it. But supposed to is never a good thing. I don't know. There's always a little bit of a, I'm not going to do it that way. Or actually, in many of these cases, because it's so, I'm just really feel that I'm just still trying it out, and it's fine. Honestly, in any stage that we're in, we feel like we're just starting out still, aren't we? It's just the void is so big. It can go either way. It can go in so many ways. So I think it's good to still feel like a student in any stage of the process, of the path, of the journey. But there is a way of, I mean, it's chalk, so I can erase it. So that is another way of writing it, drawing it, making that seal, and then erasing it. But I like to look at it. I do like to keep it up for a while. I do like to carve it into candles and then it burns down that way. That's also cool. But I do like that, just like a tarot card, really, that it comes through the eyes and then something in the brain happens that makes it so, that makes it, real somewhere. At the same time, it's, it's kind of like it depends. It depends in what way you're looking at it. I think it's good that it's somewhat like a spell. It kind of, it's either you work with it every day and it's an intention that you remind yourself of every day, or you do it once and then you let it go. Those are just two different ideas of how this works and why this works. I think both of them are good, but it's an ongoing work, ongoing process. And so that little bit of a reminder, I do enjoy that. Yeah, I do enjoy that. Now the funny thing is, I really want to get to my point of making this video, but there's one more thing I want to explain. I had this thought, I had this idea of, and I don't know if I came up with that. I mean, for me, I did, but then it's probably already, somewhere out there. Someone has written a book about it, or this is actually a technique to use in sigil magic or any type of magic. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. Now, I've realized this a while ago, and I'm pretty bad at actually sticking to it. So I must say it's just an idea, and I haven't put it in practice yet. It's just a theory, I haven't put it in practice yet. But somewhere it does make sense. So look, it's not just about, because this is like the basic, right? Making a sentence, take out the vowels, take out the double letters, and then making a sigil out of those remaining letters. And it's abstract, and you can do whatever you want. There's artistic liberties or just liberties that you can take, right? So this is like the super basic, easiest, most accessible form of making a sigil. Then there's also another thing that you could do right when you've finished the sigil. Think about in what order you want to draw it. Because, I mean, the egg sigil, I'm just calling it that at this moment, the egg sigil really doesn't look like much, okay? It's just a doodle. I can put it anywhere. Nobody would think anything of it, probably. I mean, maybe just a weird little doodle, weird little drawing, but it doesn't look like an ancient Egyptian pillar of a temple that has just been discovered. It doesn't look like any type of high magic, but that's okay. It's okay. It's okay that it's accessible. Like I said, I want to look at it, work with it, put it everywhere. Even it doesn't only has to be in one place. It's kind of it can be used as like just that, like a snap of a finger. It's possible that it works that way, that it's just intention. It's the intention. It's just working with that, and I feel that for me, in order to break patterns that I'm not happy with, I have to do that. It's not just once and then I'm done and going really deep. Yes, it all comes from a really deep. It probably comes from a shadow work session or at least a tarot session. I always start with tarot. But then I need those little bits of every so often. That's like, yep, that's the pattern. Yep, break it now. You know what you're supposed to do. So that's how that goes. I feel it. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a little a little planet going around my head, my own little moon that's like there to, like a little radar telling me, not telling me, but I've put that there. Kind of like, yeah, working with, actually what I'm trying to say is basically the ritual itself or the spell itself, or else I don't really love any of those words. The intention work itself. I'm okay with that still. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little strange for me to talk about this stuff. Still, it's not like I'm doing a lot, I feel, but I'm doing enough, and I'm working on myself mostly. The intention moment itself is deep and true and real, yes, and important. But I kind of feel like that's the theory, almost. It's kind of like opening the book and you're about to write in it. But actually it's kind of like the ritual itself is you've made the pages of the book. You've made the cover of the book. You've actually made that, crafted that with your hands. And then the little reminding things during the day or weeks or months or years, of course, because it's hard to break habits, bad habits and patterns. That is the actual practice, writing the book, writing the story, changing the storyline in a way that you are comfortable, in the way, not comfortable, in the way that you want it to happen. Yeah? But that was a whole other thing. But you see, it would also be cool to consider in what order the sigil is supposed to be drawn, however simple it is, or whatever it looks like. I think there's a certain power in that, because maybe it's about breaking open, and then you would want the part of the sigil that might look like an opening, you want to draw that last, or you want to start with a point that looks like consciousness, and then around that there's the circumference of a circle or something like that, and maybe that's the sun, and maybe you want to start with the center of our universe, I don't know, of our solar system, I don't know, or you know, you want to even incorporate different magical things, like for instance, whether if you have a curve in the sigil or a circle, you might want to think about drawing it either Deosil or Widdershins, right? What would that mean? I guess Deosil is all about that opening up and active outwards, things flowing freely, and really about, you know, that right hand energy of action, of the masculine power of doing, of attaining, I guess, just opening up, you know. And Widdershins would be the closing, the not going back in time. I don't think I'm talking about clockwise, Deosil, and then Widdershins counterclockwise, anti-clockwise. I'm not thinking about going back in time. Could be unhealthy, but it all depends on what type of work you're doing, you know. But it could be about being safe, about holding some energy together. It could be about bringing an energy towards you rather than going out. It could be about protection magic, really. So those types of things. And maybe, you know, also which way you turn it. It can make a whole big difference if there's a point, for instance, in the sigil, that if it's pointing upwards or downwards, or right or left, or towards you even. Maybe look at it even in a 3D form. How cool would that be? I haven't done that yet. But just like switching the perspective. Maybe something else comes out of it. Those are just ideas, and I haven't actually really used them yet. And before actually using them and talking about it might seem a little bit strange, but I'm just curious about your ideas, about your thoughts on all of this, and also, yeah, if that ever happens to you, like, not only regarding the sigil magic or intention work or spells or rituals or tarot work, it can be different things. Just how does that go for you? You know, it's like either something is really planned out, or you just have that idea and want to try it out, or it all just organically, naturally happens in the moment. It's also very strong. Okay, so the actual reason for this video is that the egg sigil I've been talking about was about protection. It's funny that this was necessary in these times. And it's funny also that I had this above my tarot table, and I knew what it was for, but I didn't remember, for instance, what letter. It was unrecognizable, and that for me is actually a nice sigil where the letters are unrecognizable. But they were all in there. Everything was in there that was needed. It wasn't even about that sigil. It was just about, actually it was about the moon, the flower moon that we just had, the super moon, the full moon. And I did some shadow work that night. It was just necessary, and I mean, yeah, it was necessary to do, and I felt much better after that, and it was really, valuable to do that. That's when, it wasn't even about that sigil, that's when I realized that I could work with the sigil that was about protecting something else, so that I could work with that opening of the heart, opening of the self, opening of the throat chakra. Just openness is a thing. And I've talked about this more, but it was so funny that, and interesting and strange, but it made perfect sense that this sigil that I had up there for a different reason now was completely transformed, and I could bring into that shadow work and bring into that moment of this indentation. I just took my piece of chalk and made it into a crack that just opened the shell, and you could see that as a type of reborn, or at least a new energy. The spring, isn't it hilarious that it's actually in the spring, and it's actually during the time that the lockdown is being, the rules are a little bit less strict at this moment, so people are going back to work in Holland. It all made sense on a bigger scale as well. And yeah, just that full moon and that super moon, it was all about your full potential and showing that and using that and not keeping it for myself anymore. Hope that made sense. It was just so strange for me to see, but actually it was just proof in the moment itself that this is the way that it can work. One sigil, what I always used to think, is a seal. It's like you seal it in there. It's for that one use only. It's like a forever thing that's then to release into the void, to release into the universe, to release that energy you destroy in a way. But it's so funny that seal, kind of like a forever thing, like I said, that it can actually also work so well if the meaning of it changes. I never thought that to be possible, but that's exactly what happened. And yes, it was related, the protection and then the opening, but I never thought that this subject and that subject, two separate things. Yes, related somewhat, because after all, it's my life. It's me. But I never thought that they would actually become the same thing and merge. And then that intention felt so real, so true and pure, and exactly what was needed. Yeah, I think there's a big chance that you can expect more rambly videos on this channel, because that's where I'm at right now. Just want to talk to you in a little bit more casual way. This feels casual. Yep, just ending the video this way because I had to leave. It's okay. I just want to say thanks for everything, really, just doing these videos and doing the lives and connecting to more of you has really helped me and still does, and I'm sure will for a long time. So thank you for that as well, and please let me know how you feel about all of this that I've said. And I always like getting comments and continuing the talk, continuing the discussion. It's so interesting, you know. We all know something that someone else doesn't know, and we can help each other out in this way. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I'm gonna go now, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.